The year was 1979, a humid summer afternoon in a small Georgia town. A tired old pickup rumbled down the dusty road toward St. Mary's Orphanage. Behind the wheel sat Thomas Reed, a quiet, middle-aged widower with deep-set eyes that had seen both loss and grace. His wife had passed 5 years earlier, and the big farmhouse he once called home had grown cold with silence. He was there to drop off a box of used books for the orphanage library. Nothing more. Inside the orphanage, a group of 9 little black girls sat huddled in a corner. Their eyes followed every sound, every stranger who entered. The oldest, Ruth, held a toddler named Grace on her lap, rocking her gently. They were children who had lost too much, too soon, some to fire, some to abandonment, some simply forgotten by the world. Thomas set the box down and turned to leave, but something stopped him. Maybe it was the way Ruth's eyes met his, guarded, yet pleading for something beyond pity. He crouched down, his voice soft. "Do you girls like stories?" Ruth nodded shyly. "Sometimes." He smiled. "How about we write a new one together?" That night, Thomas couldn't sleep. The image of those girls haunted him. By morning, he had made a decision that would scandalize his neighbors and forever change 9 lives, and his own. Within a month, he signed the papers. The whispers began immediately. A single white man adopting 9 black girls in 1979? Folks called him crazy, some called him worse. But Thomas didn't care. The first few weeks were pure chaos. Laughter mixed with tears, meals were noisy battles, and the girls fought over everything, from toys to blankets to who got to sit next to him at dinner. Thomas, patient as the sunrise, would just smile and say, "One day, this house will sound like love." He taught them everything he knew: how to plant tomatoes, how to say grace before meals, and how to listen when someone's heart was hurting. Ruth helped him cook and took care of the youngest. Naomi drew pictures on the walls until he finally gave her paper and brushes. Faith, who walked with a limp, cried when she couldn't keep up with the others. Thomas spent nights in the shed, tinkering until he built her a metal brace that helped her run, but the world outside their farmhouse was not as kind. The girls were called names at school. Parents whispered that Thomas had no business raising colored children. Ruth came home one afternoon in tears. "They said I don't belong here," she sobbed. Thomas knelt, holding her face gently in his calloused hands. "Honey, this home isn't white or black. It's ours. Don't ever let anyone tell you otherwise." He worked himself to the bone, teaching night classes, fixing fences, and selling vegetables from the garden, to make sure all 9 could go to school. At Christmas, when money ran thin, he carved wooden dolls for each of them and wrote their names on the back. "You may not have come from my blood," he said, "but you came from my heart." Time moved like the steady ticking of an old clock. Ruth went to college first, and Thomas sold his truck to help pay her tuition. When she hugged him goodbye, she cried, "I can't leave you, Daddy." He smiled through watery eyes. "You're not leaving, sweetheart. You're growing." Years passed. Naomi became an artist, her paintings filled with the colors of the life Thomas gave them. Faith became a physical therapist, helping children walk just like she once struggled to. Esther joined the military, Hope became a nurse, Joy a teacher, Charity a counselor, Patience an author, and little Grace, a lawyer who fought for foster kids' rights. Each one of them carried a piece of him into the world. In 1999, on a quiet Sunday morning, Thomas Reed took his last breath in the same farmhouse he had filled with love. When the sisters gathered for his funeral, the air felt heavy with memory. Under the oak tree he had planted the year they arrived, they found a letter in his Bible. It read, "My girls, you gave me more than I ever gave you. Don't mourn my leaving. Keep building bridges, of love, of hope, of understanding. That's how we change the world. Remember, family isn't who shares your blood, but who shares your heart." They buried him beneath the oak tree and placed a plaque that read, "The father of 9 queens." Years turned to decades. The girls became women, mothers, and grandmothers. Life scattered them across states, but they never stopped calling, never stopped meeting at that same farmhouse every year. Then one day, 46 years after that first meeting at the orphanage, they returned again, this time with cameras, families, and tears of gratitude. The farmhouse had been restored, white paint gleaming under the Georgia sun. Ruth, now gray-haired and wise, walked into the kitchen and whispered, "It still smells like his biscuits." The others laughed through tears. Naomi pointed at the painting on the wall, the one she had made as a child, 9 little girls holding hands under a big oak tree. A journalist filming their reunion asked softly, "What do you think your father would say if he saw you all now?" Grace smiled, her eyes shining. "He'd say, 'I told you love was stronger than hate.'" As evening fell, the 9 sisters stood beneath the oak tree, their hands joined just like in Naomi's painting. The sun dipped low, its light spilling across the fields Thomas once tilled with them. The wind rustled the leaves above their heads, and for a moment, it felt as though his voice moved through the branches. "Calm, kind, eternal, we're not building walls. We're building bridges." And beneath that golden sky, they knew he was still there, not in body, but in every bridge of love they'd built since the day he chose them.